Disclaimer: the following story and its characters are entirely fictional and crafted for entertainment purposes only. Maple Syrup Heist Uncovered, Mason's Mystery Tales. Chapter 1, A Sweet Beginning. The sun hung low in the crisp Canadian sky, casting a warm, golden hue over the quaint town of Toronto. Spring had arrived, and with it came the promise of renewal and a long-standing tradition, the Maple Syrup Festival. For the locals, this event was more than just a celebration, it was a cherished link to their heritage and the soul of their community. Main Street was alive with activity. Booths lined the sidewalks, their vendors proudly displaying a rainbow of maple syrup products, from amber-rich bottles of syrup to maple-infused candies and pastries. The air was thick with the sweet, intoxicating scent of freshly made pancakes, and the sound of laughter and music filled the air. As the festival preparations reached a fever pitch, the heart of it all was Maple Grove Park, a sprawling, picturesque area transformed into a syrup lover's paradise. The park was a sea of colorful tents, each housing a different maple-themed delight. Families with children wandered from booth to booth, savoring the array of maple-infused treats. Amidst the joyful chaos, one figure stood out, a man seated at a corner picnic table, savoring a plate of pancakes smothered in maple syrup. Mason Sinclair, with his salt and pepper hair and an air of quiet confidence, was enjoying a moment of respite amidst the festivities. With a satisfied smile, he took another bite, appreciating the perfect balance of sweetness that only pure, Canadian maple syrup could provide. His reputation as a seasoned detective was well known in the community, but today, he was here simply as Mason, a lover of all things maple. Mason's keen eyes watched the bustling crowd, taking in the laughter and joy that filled the air. Little did he know that in just a few hours, the festival's jubilant atmosphere would be shattered by a shocking discovery, a mystery that would call him back into action, setting the stage for the most unusual case of his career. As the sun climbed higher, casting a warm embrace over the Maple Syrup Festival, Mason Sinclair finished his pancakes and set down his fork, his detective's instincts already stirring, ready for the adventure that lay ahead. Chapter 2, The Disappearing Treasure. The morning sun had given way to a vibrant azure sky as the Maple Syrup Festival officially kicked off. Families gathered around picnic tables, friends chatted and laughed, and the tantalizing scent of pancakes and syrup wafted through the air. It was a scene of pure, unadulterated joy. But as the festivities reached their zenith, an air of unease began to seep into the crowd. Whispers spread like wildfire, and worried faces replaced smiles. Something was amiss. Near the heart of Maple Grove Park, where a massive maple tree had stood for generations, a small crowd had gathered. In the very spot where barrels of golden, liquid treasure had been stored for the festival, there was nothing but an empty space, a void where the priceless barrels of maple syrup had stood just hours before. Panic seized the festival grounds. The syrup vendors, who had been preparing their pancake stacks and maple-infused goodies, rushed to the scene, their eyes widening with disbelief. Organizers frantically searched for any sign of the missing syrup, but there was none to be found. Mason Sinclair, who had been enjoying the festivities just moments ago, now found himself drawn to the commotion like a moth to a flame. He pushed through the growing crowd, his seasoned detective instincts telling him that something significant had occurred. He arrived at the scene and surveyed the area. The storage facility had been securely locked the night before, its contents protected by a sturdy padlock and surveillance cameras. Now, the padlock lay broken on the ground, and the cameras appeared to have been tampered with. Mason's sharp eyes detected something else, a faint, syrupy trail leading away from the empty storage area and disappearing into the nearby woods. Mason's mind raced as he considered the implications. The annual Maple Syrup Festival was not just a cherished tradition, it was also a crucial source of income for the local community. The missing syrup threatened to cast a long shadow over the event, not to mention the livelihoods of the syrup producers and vendors. With a deep breath, Mason knew he couldn't remain a mere observer any longer. The gravity of the situation demanded action. He turned to his trusted assistant, Emma, who had followed him to the scene. "Emma," Mason said, his voice steady. "We have a mystery to solve, and it's going to be stickier than we ever imagined." Chapter 3: Mason takes the case. The crowd grew more agitated with each passing moment, but festival organizers knew exactly where to turn in this moment of crisis. They had heard of Mason Sinclair's legendary detective skills and the countless mysteries he had unraveled. With grim determination, they approached him, hoping that he could salvage their beloved festival. Mason had been scrutinizing the scene, taking in every detail. He turned as the organizers approached, their faces etched with anxiety. The head organizer, a middle-aged woman named Margaret, spoke first. "Mason Sinclair, we've heard of your reputation, and we're in dire need of your expertise," Margaret said, her voice quivering. "Our annual maple syrup festival is on the brink of disaster. The priceless syrup barrels have vanished, and with them, our main attraction. We don't know what to do." Mason regarded her with a calm demeanor. "Tell me everything you know, Margaret," he said, his eyes focused and probing. "Start from the beginning." Margaret provided a detailed account of the events leading up to the discovery of the missing syrup. She explained that the syrup had been securely stored in the facility overnight, and no one had entered or left the area before the discovery. The broken padlock and tampered surveillance cameras were the only clues they had. As she spoke, Mason listened intently, absorbing every piece of information. His reputation was built on his meticulous attention to detail, and he was determined to apply it to this case. He nodded as she finished her account. "I'll take the case," Mason declared, his voice resolute. "But I can't do it alone. I'll need my assistant, Emma, by my side." Emma, who had been observing from the background, stepped forward. She was a woman of sharp intellect and unwavering determination, a perfect complement to Mason's deductive skills. Margaret nodded in agreement. "Please, do whatever it takes to find our missing syrup. The festival means the world to our community, and its success is crucial to so many." With a nod, Mason and Emma joined forces, officially taking on the daunting task of solving the maple syrup heist. The festival organizers breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing that they had entrusted the case to the very best. As they turned to leave for their first investigation, Mason couldn't help but notice the worried faces in the crowd. The fate of the annual Maple Syrup Festival rested on their shoulders, and the clock was ticking. With determination in their hearts and a mystery to unravel, Mason Sinclair and Emma were ready to embark on their newest adventure, one that would test their skills and challenge their wits like never before. Chapter 4: The Crime Scene. With the responsibility of solving the maple syrup heist squarely on their shoulders, Mason and Emma wasted no time. They left the bustling festival grounds behind and headed to the syrup storage facility, where the heart of the mystery lay. Upon arrival, they found the facility to be a modest, weathered building nestled amid the tall maple trees. The wooden structure, worn with age, was a testament to the enduring tradition of syrup production in the region. The door to the facility bore the unmistakable signs of a forced entry. A shattered padlock lay on the ground, the lock itself snapped cleanly in two. Mason bent down to examine the broken lock with his gloved hand, a furrow forming on his brow. "This wasn't a simple break-in, Emma," he noted, his voice low. "Someone was determined to get inside." Emma, always thorough and methodical, inspected the storage facility's interior. Rows upon rows of empty shelves were testimony to the fact that the syrup barrels had indeed been removed. She pointed to the ground where something unusual caught her eye, a faint, sticky trail of maple syrup leading away from the empty storage area and into the dense woods behind the facility. "Look here, Mason," Emma said, crouching down to inspect the syrup trail. "It seems our thief left us a rather sweet clue." Mason nodded in agreement. "Indeed, Emma. Let's follow the trail, but first, we should speak with those who were closest to the scene." Their first interview was with Samuel O'Connor, the owner of the syrup storage facility. Samuel was a burly man in his 50s, with a bushy mustache and a deep affection for maple syrup. He explained that he had locked up the facility securely the night before the festival, confident that the syrup was safe until the morning. "I can't believe it," Samuel said, his voice filled with frustration. "My syrup is the pride of this festival, and now it's gone. It's as if someone wanted to ruin everything I've worked for." Mason and Emma listened carefully, taking mental notes. Samuel's dedication to his craft was evident, and the loss of his prized syrup weighed heavily on him. Their next interviewee was Jamie DuPont, a passionate volunteer who had been helping with festival preparations. Jamie was a young woman with a bright smile and a deep love for all things syrup-related. "I was here late last night, doing some last-minute organizing," Jamie explained. "I didn't see anything unusual, but it's heartbreaking to see the festival threatened like this." As the interviews concluded, Mason and Emma decided to follow the syrup trail into the woods, knowing that it could lead them closer to the missing barrels and the culprit behind the heist. The woods, dappled with the late afternoon sunlight, held secrets waiting to be uncovered. With resolve in their hearts, they ventured deeper into the forest, ready to face the sticky web of clues that awaited them. Chapter 5: Unveiling the Suspects. As Mason and Emma followed the syrup trail deeper into the woods, their minds buzzed with thoughts of potential suspects. The broken lock, the syrupy trail, and the tampered surveillance cameras all pointed to a carefully orchestrated plan. It was clear that the thief had not acted on a whim but had a motive. The detective duo returned to their investigation headquarters, a small, rented cabin near the festival grounds, to discuss their findings and compile a list of potential suspects. Sitting at a table cluttered with maps and notes, they began their deliberations. Mason spoke first, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. "Let's consider our suspects carefully. We need to understand their motives and connections." Their first suspect was Baxter McAllister, a rival syrup producer with a long history of rivalry with Samuel O'Connor. Baxter had always been envious of Samuel's success and had publicly criticized his syrup-making methods. The festival organizers confirmed that Baxter had a booth at the festival, providing him with easy access to the storage facility. "Samuel and Baxter's rivalry is well known," Mason mused. "But is it strong enough to drive Baxter to steal the syrup?" Next on their list was Liam Parker, a festival vendor struggling with financial troubles. Liam had recently borrowed money from Samuel to keep his business afloat. His debts were mounting, and the festival was his last chance to turn things around. Emma considered Liam's predicament. Desperation can lead people to do unexpected things. Could Liam have resorted to sabotage to eliminate his competition? Their final suspect was Grace Mitchell, a mysterious woman who had been spotted near the storage facility on the night of the heist. Witnesses described her as elegant and composed, but her presence at such a late hour raised suspicions. "Grace Mitchell is an enigma," Mason remarked. "We need to learn more about her background and why she was near the facility that night." With their list of potential suspects in hand, Mason and Emma set out to gather more information. They knew that uncovering each suspect's motive and opportunity was essential to solving the mystery. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the festival grounds, the detective duo had embarked on a path that would lead them deeper into the tangled web of intrigue and deception surrounding the stolen maple syrup. Chapter 6: The investigative journey begins. With their list of suspects in mind, Mason and Emma embarked on a journey through the world of maple syrup production, determined to uncover the truth behind the stolen syrup. Their investigation took them to various locations in and around Toronto, each offering new insights and revealing hidden layers of the mystery. Syrup farms. Their first stop was a visit to the syrup farms that dotted the landscape surrounding the town. These farms were the lifeblood of the community, with generations of families dedicated to the art of syrup making. Mason and Emma spoke with farmers, hearing stories of tradition and hard work passed down from one generation to the next. They learned of rivalries between farms, fierce but friendly competitions during maple syrup season, and the pride each family took in their unique syrup recipes. It became clear that the syrup-making community was tightly knit, and rivalries could run deep. Hidden Sugar Shack. Their next destination was a hidden sugar shack deep in the woods, a place known only to those in the inner circle of the syrup-making community. Here, they encountered a secretive group of syrup aficionados who took their craft to a whole new level. They shared tales of legendary syrup recipes passed down from ancestors and discussed the immense value of pure, high-quality syrup. Intriguingly, they also mentioned rumors of a mysterious figure, known only as the Sap Whisperer, who had recently been trying to obtain their secret recipes. The mention of this figure added a layer of intrigue to their investigation. Local Pancake House. Their journey took them to a local pancake house, a favorite haunt of festival attendees and syrup enthusiasts alike. As they enjoyed a stack of pancakes smothered in syrup, they overheard conversations and gossip that shed light on the relationships and rivalries within the syrup community. One patron mentioned overhearing a heated argument between Baxter McAllister and Samuel O'Connor at the festival, reigniting their long-standing feud. Another spoke of Liam Parker's financial woes, hinting at desperation in his pursuit of success. With each stop on their investigative journey, Mason and Emma gathered more clues and pieced together a complex web of rivalries, secret recipes, and long-buried family secrets. The world of maple syrup production was far more intricate and interconnected than they had initially imagined, and the motives of their suspects grew increasingly tangled. As the sun set on another day, Mason and Emma returned to their cabin headquarters, determined to delve deeper into the mystery and uncover the truth behind the stolen maple syrup. With each revelation, they inched closer to solving the case that threatened to cast a shadow over the beloved Maple Syrup Festival. Chapter 7: Secrets and Revelations. The cabin's dimly lit interior was filled with an air of tension as Mason and Emma meticulously reviewed their notes and clues. With each passing day, their investigation into the stolen maple syrup had uncovered a web of secrets and rivalries within the syrup-making community. They had learned of Baxter McAllister's deep-seated envy of Samuel O'Connor's success, Liam Parker's desperate financial situation, and Grace Mitchell's mysterious presence near the storage facility on the night of the heist. It seemed that each suspect had a motive, but Mason knew that motives alone wouldn't solve the case. As they delved deeper into their findings, a surprising revelation emerged. While Baxter and Liam's motives were clear, Grace Mitchell's connection to the syrup community ran deeper than initially thought. Through discreet inquiries, they discovered that Grace's family had a long history in the syrup industry, owning a syrup farm generations old. This new information added a layer of complexity to the case. Why would someone with a family legacy in syrup production resort to stealing from the festival? Mason couldn't help but wonder if there was more to Grace's story than met the eye. The tension between the suspects escalated as Mason continued to investigate. He visited the festival vendors' booths, eavesdropped on conversations, and even paid a discreet visit to the hidden sugar shack. At each turn, he unearthed new connections and rivalries among the suspects, painting a picture of a tightly woven community with many secrets lurking beneath the surface. Then, on a rainy evening as Mason and Emma reviewed their findings, a breakthrough occurred. Emma noticed a pattern in the statements from festival goers. Multiple witnesses had mentioned seeing a figure resembling Baxter McAllister near the storage facility on the night of the heist. Baxter had initially claimed to have spent the night at his booth, but the evidence was mounting against him. Mason decided it was time to confront Baxter with this new information. With measured steps, they approached Baxter's syrup booth at the festival, their eyes locked on the man they believed might hold the key to unraveling the mystery. The confrontation that followed would shake the investigation to its core and reveal a twist that none of them had seen coming. As tensions reached their peak, Baxter McAllister's eyes darted nervously, and his voice wavered as he attempted to explain his actions. But what he revealed would change everything and send Mason and Emma on a new, unexpected path towards solving the case of the stolen maple syrup. Chapter 8: The Climactic Showdown, Revealing the True Thief. The festival attendees held their breath as Mason Sinclair continued to address the crowd from the stage, the suspense hanging in the air like a dense fog. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mason began again, "I know you've all been waiting for answers, and tonight, I aim to provide them." He motioned for the suspects, Baxter McAllister, Liam Parker, and Grace Mitchell, to join him on stage. Their faces betrayed a mix of anxiety and curiosity as they took their places. Mason continued, "Each of you has been a person of interest in the investigation into the stolen maple syrup. We've uncovered motives, rivalries, and secrets that have shed light on this puzzling crime." He outlined the motives of each suspect, the rivalry between Baxter and Samuel, Liam's desperate financial situation, and Grace's mysterious family history in the syrup industry. The festival attendees listened intently, trying to piece together the puzzle. But then, Mason dropped the bombshell. He revealed that the evidence had led him to an unexpected conclusion. He turned toward Grace Mitchell and said, "It is with great surprise that we unveil the true mastermind behind the stolen syrup, Grace Mitchell." The crowd gasped in disbelief as Mason continued, "Grace, despite your family's long-standing connection to the syrup industry, you coveted something more. You saw an opportunity to disrupt the festival and eliminate your competitors, all while maintaining an air of innocence." Grace's face turned pale, and she stammered, "I don't know what you're talking about. I had nothing to do with this." But Mason wasn't done. He presented the final piece of evidence, a hidden camera feed that had captured Grace sneaking into the storage facility on the night of the heist. The video clearly showed her manipulating the surveillance cameras and making off with the stolen syrup. The audience gasped again, their shock reverberating through the festival grounds. Grace Mitchell had been the true thief all along, using her family's reputation as a cover to hide her cunning plan. As the truth sank in, Grace's facade crumbled, and she was escorted away by festival security, her betrayal leaving a bitter taste in the mouths of all who had trusted her. With the thief exposed, Mason Sinclair turned to the crowd and said, "The stolen maple syrup has been recovered, and the Maple Syrup Festival can continue, thanks to your support and the diligent efforts of Emma and me." The crowd erupted into applause, celebrating the resolution of the mystery and the preservation of their beloved tradition. As the festival concluded with a sense of relief and joy, Mason and Emma looked at each other, knowing that their pursuit of justice had prevailed once again. Another thrilling mystery had been solved, and the enigmatic realm of Mason's mystery tales continued to capture the imaginations of all who joined them on their adventures. Chapter 9: Sweet Resolution. With Grace Mitchell exposed as the true thief and the stolen maple syrup recovered, a collective sigh of relief washed over the festival grounds. The beloved Maple Syrup Festival, teetering on the brink of disaster, was saved just in the nick of time. As the festival's attendees learned of the resolution, their spirits soared. The syrup, which had been at the heart of their celebration, was returned to its rightful place in the storage facility. The air was once again filled with the scent of pancakes and the joyous laughter of families and friends. The festival concluded with a joyous celebration that surpassed all previous years. Maple syrup flowed freely, and pancakes piled high on plates as people relished in the sweet victory over adversity. The community came together to celebrate not only the syrup but also the resilience that had triumphed over adversity. Mason Sinclair and Emma were hailed as heroes of the day, their names whispered in admiration throughout the festival. Mason's reputation as a legendary detective was further solidified, and Emma's astute assistance had been instrumental in unraveling the complex mystery. As the festival came to a close, Mason addressed the crowd one final time from the stage. "In the face of adversity, this community stood united," he said, his voice carrying over the cheering crowd. "And it is that unity that has made this year's Maple Syrup Festival one for the history books." The attendees erupted into applause, their appreciation for Mason's dedication and Emma's unwavering support evident. With the stolen syrup safely back where it belonged and the festival a resounding success, the town of Toronto could once again revel in the sweet traditions that define their identity. As Mason and Emma watched the celebration unfold, they couldn't help but smile, knowing that they had played a vital role in preserving a cherished tradition and bringing the community closer together. The enigmatic realm of Mason's mystery tales had once again proven that even the stickiest of situations could be unraveled with determination, wit, and a little bit of sweet justice. Chapter 10: Reflection and Future Adventures. As the Maple Syrup Festival's joyful celebration continued around them, Mason, Sinclair, and Emma found a moment of solitude to reflect on their latest adventure. They stood near the festival's entrance, watching families and friends laugh, indulge in syrupy delights, and celebrate their community's resilience. Mason turned to Emma with a warm smile. "Another case solved, thanks to your astute observations and unwavering support, Emma." Emma returned a smile, her eyes shining with pride. "It was a challenging one, but we made it through, Mason. And it was worth it to see the festival saved and the community united." The detective's gaze lingered on the festival goers. "You know, Emma, there's something special about the way mysteries bring people together. It's not just about solving crimes, it's about preserving traditions and forging connections." Emma nodded in agreement. "That's what makes our work so fulfilling, Mason. We're not just solving mysteries, we're helping communities thrive." As the sun went down, casting a warm, golden glow over the festival grounds, Mason and Emma knew that their journey was far from over. The world of Mason's mystery tales held countless more thrilling adventures waiting to be uncovered. With a hint of excitement in his voice, Mason said, "There are more mysteries out there, Emma, waiting to be unraveled. More stories to tell, more puzzles to solve." Emma's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "I couldn't agree more, Mason. Our next adventure is just around the corner." And so, as the Maple Syrup Festival's grand finale reached its crescendo and the festival-goers danced beneath a canopy of stars, Mason and Emma stood side by side, ready to embrace the mysteries that awaited them in the enigmatic realm of Mason's mystery tales. The night was filled with the promise of thrilling adventures, new challenges, and the enduring bond of partnership that made their detective work truly special. As the festival's sweet melodies played on, Mason and Emma looked forward to the stories yet to be told and the mysteries yet to be uncovered, knowing that with each new adventure, their legend as legendary detectives would continue to grow. Enjoyed Mason's crime-solving journey through the heart of mysteries? Don't miss out on future captivating tales. Hit that subscribe button and join us on Mason's Mystery Tales for more thrilling adventures into the enigmatic realm of crime, secrets, and suspense. Stay tuned for upcoming stories that will keep you hooked and craving for more. Subscribe now and be a part of our detective community as we unravel the intriguing narratives that lie just beneath the surface. Your next suspenseful adventure awaits, don't miss it.